It was nip and tuck throughout the night in Westwood, but in the end, after a difficult stretch of games from the schedule here recently, UCLA, led by Donovan Dent, were able to come out on top over the number 4 Purdue Boilermakers. What a night it was, and the head man, Mick Cronin, celebrating his tandem afterwards.
You got to throw punches and get in the ring. Let it. I don't care if you miss play. Quit being a bystander. So, give him all the credit. We don't win if he don't show up tonight. 13 assists, 23 points. He got the job done.
He got on me pretty bad after that Ohio State game. Everyone was there in the locker room. Like, he challenged me, like, personally, mentally, every way possible. He was challenging me this whole week, and I think that's the response he wanted right there. Just being able to come back out and not back down from what he was saying, just play hard.
Donnie had been, breaking down their defense all game. What do you have, like 12 assists or something like that? Yeah, and scoring too. So. 13. Yeah, so, he was able to draw 2. It was a great pass by him. I was able to get open, and, I repped that shot a lot. So, just got my footwork right and let it go.
Donovan Dent's last 5 games, some of them, didn't go as well as he was hoping for. The previous 4 games averaging 23 points per game, and then that was after the previous 4 games where he was averaging 8.5 points per game. But last night against Purdue, 23 points, 13 assists, only 1 foul. Shot the ball really well from the field. And that 13th and most important assist of the game was for the game winner to Bilodeau. And for Donovan Dent, he talked about it there, the challenge he'd gotten from his head coach. And we know Mick Cronin doesn't mind challenging his players, but it's always gratifying to see your point guard, your leader, on the court against the top point guard in the country respond in that way.
Oh, Donovan Dent was big time. You could see the vision from Mick Cronin last night on the floor because it was all on display. This is who Mick Cronin thought he was getting when you bring in a Donovan Dent. You bring in a high-level scorer, a 5-level scorer at that. We always talk about 3-level scorers, but Donovan Dent is 5 levels. He can get downhill to the basket. He's really good in the mid-range. He can knock down threes, but then he gets to the free throw line, and then he can create his own baskets in ISO situations. He was big time on both ends of the floor because he was great offensively. We know the 23 points. The 13 assists was incredible, but the defense on Braden Smith was lights out. I mean, Donovan Dent was big time. That last play of the game winner you mentioned, that is the design for UCLA's offense. Is you get that 2-man game. You got Donovan Dent top of the key with the basketball. He's going. He's coming off that ball screen from Tyler Bilodeau. What do you do if you're Oscar Clough? Do you stop the ball? Or you let Donovan Dent go hoop. If you stop that basketball, you got a kickback for Tyler Bilodeau, who's ready to knock that shot down. It was phenomenal for the Bruins on both ends of the floor. I think this win right here, it could have saved their season. It gives them that energy. It gives them that confidence. And like we said about Nebraska, when you start to win a game, you win a big one like this, you get that buy-in because Coach Mick Cronin was on those guys all week since that Ohio State loss, and now it paid off. So now it's about taking the energy they played with, bottling it up, and keep it going. It may not be Donovan Dent going out there and getting 23 and 13 every night, but Tyler Bilodeau got going. Eric Daly was big time on the glass and making shots. And then the young fella, Trent Perry, being able to step up and give him 11 points to go along with Donovan Dent was doing in the backcourt. This is the UCLA team that I thought coming into the season to make a really good deep run into March.
I had a chance to talk to Mick Cronin before the season about the way the schedule set up for them early, and a lot of their games, the majority of them were out west. He was hoping to be able to get off to a hot start, and for the most part, they did. Yeah. Defensively, they were fairly inconsistent, but you referenced the defense that was played last night. That showed up a lot. You know how much Mick Cronin normally emphasizes that end of the court. On the other end of that court, though, their opponent, Purdue. What do you think the result of this game means for the Boilers?
I look at Purdue, and I look at their top 3 guys. Because you look at Trey Kaufman-Renn, Braden Smith, and Fletcher Lawyer, that's the big 3. The big 3 has to produce every game. The big 3 last night combined for 27 points, and that's not going to win you games on the road. Braden Smith, we know he's been dominating the basketball, maybe going through a little bit of an injury after that USC game. He's got to be a guy that can go out there and depend on to get on 15 and 9 every single night. 12 and 4 with 4 turnovers just is not good enough. Fletcher Lawyer can't go on the road and only score 5 points and expect Purdue to win games. And then my guy, Trey Kaufman-Renn, he had 10 points, but only 6 shot attempts. And I know he's getting double-teamed every possession, but Purdue has got to find a way to get Trey Kaufman-Renn going. If Trey Kaufman-Renn isn't going to give Purdue some type of production on the offensive end, I don't know if Purdue can get to a Final Four and win a national championship. They need Trey Kaufman-Renn to get going. C.J. Cox was great. Oscar Clough has been big time. But if Purdue wants to get to the heights that they plan to, those big three have got to be three every single night. All three of them definitely can't have a night off together. And then it can't affect the defensive end because, they missed some shots. Braden Smith missed some. Fletcher Lawyer missed some. But then on the other end, Donovan Dent just picked those dudes apart. Got wherever he wanted to on the floor, in the lane at will, made plays for teammates. If it doesn't go on the offensive end for you and you're on the road, you've got to be able to cut teams' water off on the defensive end. And Purdue just had no answer for Donovan Dent. Young fella was cooking. You could tell Donovan Dent transferred to UCLA. He had this game circled on his calendar. He was like, Braden Smith is coming to Westwood. I got to ball out. And he was phenomenal.
Yeah, he was on one last night.
Yes, he was.
Doubt. Anytime I've gotten to talk to TKR, he's always talking about spending that extra time in the gym. So hopefully, whether it's more screen and roll action, whatever it might be.
It's just no space right now. Right now, you think about it, it's Oscar Clough on one side, Trey Kaufman-Renn on the other. You go back to last season, Trey Kaufman-Renn is playing the 5, so he's guarded by the 5. When you send a double team, it's a smaller defender. You make sense? So now, if I'm guarded by the 4 and you send a double team, you're sending a bigger defender most times. His vision is cut off. He can't really fight through it. That spacing is becoming an issue for Purdue. You go back to that USC game, they put Trey Kaufman-Renn at the 5, and they just tried to rock with it. They haven't done that much all season long. So I think that's the fight in the locker room for Coach P.J. Thompson and Coach Matt Painter, is being able to find TKR spaces and space to maneuver and operate and get his little push shot off.
So in a similar vein, we saw Michigan recently suffer a defeat, first one of the season after they'd been so dominant for so long. And they finally responded yet again here the last couple of games. And what we saw from them against the Hoosiers last night, abundantly impressive from the Wolverines, how they were able to get that done. And now another dominant win. Dusty May was addressing it afterwards.
You're at home. You typically play better at home than you do across the country. And so, we obviously, we'd love to be sitting over there up 35 and 40 like we were earlier in the year, but the enemy has a vote. Our opponent has a say in that, and we're playing good teams in the Big Ten. And so as teams continue to figure us out and we figure them out, you've got to reinvent yourself. You've got to pivot in some areas, and then you got to be able to go back to where you were at some other times during the season. So, we're not trying to peak right now. We're trying to play really, really good basketball while continuing to work through some struggles and things that go with playing in the Big Ten.
I guess I understand not looking to peak yet at this point in the season, but as far as responding the last couple of games, so it does feel like Michigan beginning to look like the team that they were the majority of the early portion of the games here. Been watching you on the network talking a lot about the way they're attacking the glass, and it feels like that's part of where Michigan is imposing their will.
They got back to that dog mentality last night against the Hoosiers. It was big time. I loved it because they went out west to Washington and Oregon. I did not like it. You win those games by double figures, it's big time to win road games by double figures in this conference, but you didn't like how it looked. You go back to that game last night against Indiana, it was all about playing hard. It was all about being physical. It was all about doing the little things. And since that Wisconsin game, maybe a couple games before that Wisconsin game, Michigan had got off its track. Michigan had got away from those things. Michigan had started to just roll the ball out and try to beat teams with their talent. They were like, we're better than you guys. We should beat you guys. We're going to just go out there and hoop. But last night, they got back to Dusty May basketball because I look at Michigan, it's one thing that you shouldn't have to say to a championship caliber team, but it's playing hard is a non-negotiable. You got to go out there and play hard every single time. You got to play to your level, not to your opponent's level. And you look at Michigan, the last few weeks, they've been playing to their opponent's level. So that's why I loved it last night. It wasn't about, forget the turnovers, forget the missed shots. Yeah, we know they're talented, but will you play hard every possession? Will you follow the scout report? Will you close out and have discipline? That's why I think Michigan is a championship level team. I think Michigan, they have great talent, but they don't necessarily have 5, 6 first-rounders on that roster. But when you add that talent and do you add that discipline and toughness that they brought last night, that's a national championship level squad. It's got to be a marriage of both. It can't just be one or the other. They've got to bring it every single night.
And, we saw Tucker DeVries emerge a little bit in the second half of that game. But by then, it's kind of too little too late the way Michigan had just controlled the majority of the action. Speaking of controlling the action, Michigan State was in a game that was nipped and tucked with the Oregon Ducks, and it was on the road, it's out west, and that can be a difficult thing for teams. But they were able to eventually dominate that game, pull away from the Ducks later on. We do know that Tom Izzo, as he is wont to do sometimes, had some comments, challenges players in the game. It did feel like the Spartans responded.
He told Kurt Tank he couldn't guard his mother.
He did say that. He did say that. His mother's 99 years old, apparently. So, his players did seem to respond.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan State, when I watch them, it's like you're watching a boxing match because they're just punching you in the face over and over and over and over for 30 minutes. And then around that 12-minute timeout in that second half, teams just start to die out. And that's what happened against Oregon last night. Michigan State, their physicality, their athleticism, the way they push the basketball, it just starts to wear on you. I mean, it's a completely different approach they take from when I was just talking about Michigan. With Michigan at times, you know they're talented, but you have to fight them to play hard. But with Michigan State, they may not have the talent of a Michigan, but boy, they fight you for 40 minutes and they go hard. They rebound as a team. They're going to get to the free throw line. And every time when that shot goes up, they get a defensive rebound. They are running. It doesn't matter if they're getting anything or if they don't. They just go and they push the basketball. They just push so much stress on your defense. But now when you think about the X's and O's and you think about how Oregon, they tried to keep Michigan State in the half court and how Michigan State was able to combat it, you got to give a shout out to two guys. I thought Carson Cooper was phenomenal. I think Carson Cooper showed last night that he may have a chance to play at the next level. His ability to score the basketball with his back to the basket, the little turnaround jumpers, his ability to get on that glass.
Really
and go
pretty little floater,
oh,
some touch
nice.
he's got down there.
You can tell Carson Cooper's been in the gym with Jackson Kohler because his game is starting to rub off on the big fella. His ability, just that soft touch. And then my guy, Cohen Carr, I thought that was one of his better games of his college career last night. Just being simple. And you heard in the press conference a couple nights ago, they asked Coach Izzo, how can we get Cohen Carr going? Can you give him confidence? And Coach is like, I love him. I want him to play hard. I want him to do well. He works hard. And I'm glad it really got to be on display last night. Just from him making a couple early jump shots in that first half, it opens
We
things
know
up.
he can dunk, right?
Yeah,
we know he can get out on the break.
We know what he can do with the basket, but when he starts to knock down a couple, it just spreads things out. Because then you got in that second half, and now you're guarding Cohen Carr differently. It was at a point this season, a couple weeks ago, teams weren't even closing out to him. He'd catch it, they just look at him and say, shoot it.
Don't dunk on me. Just don't
shoot
dunk on me.
So now he's catching it. They're closing out to him hard. He had 3 or 4 plays in the second half. Pump fake, get into the lane, jump stop 2 foot, had a dump down to Kohler, had a kick out to Kohler, had a kick out to Fierce for 3. That's who Cohen Carr can be on the offensive end. You're not looking for 20, 25 points a night. You're looking for him to knock down open shots, and when they close out to him, get into the lane, get to the basket, get to the free throw line, but then play off of 2 feet if you don't have it and play for others. I thought Cohen Carr was phenomenal because Jeremy Fears, he didn't have it. He was a little sluggish in that first half, got going in the second, and Michigan State needed someone to make some plays for him, and Cohen Carr was able to do it off the bounce in the half court, and Oregon just had no answer for him.
My brother and my pops are both left-handed hoopers, and there's just something about the left-handed Jay. I would tell them all the time, like, I don't believe it. I don't believe you're going to hit it. They hit it pretty frequently whenever we would play out on the playground. It was a nail-biter last night where the Buckeyes came out on top. Bruce Thornton was able to have another big game. He combined with Mobley for 49 points on 18 out of 35 from the field. Points in the paint, we know that the Buckeyes can attack the rack. They have 46 points in the paint. And Minnesota's 5 out of their 6 Big Ten games decided by 6 points or less. Like the Gophers and the Wildcats, they just keep playing these close games over and over again. And unfortunately for the Gophers, they came out on the short end of it last night, a game that went to overtime. And Bruce Thornton didn't necessarily start off hot early, but it seemed like he found his footing.
He's just a closer. I mean, Bruce Thornton, Bennett Sturts last night, they show you why you need high-level guards to win close basketball games at this level. Because Bennett, I mean, you look at Bruce Thornton, and that's the overtime of that game against the Gophers, just takes over the basketball game. His ability just to get downhill and get to his spot with that little floater is impeccable. But then he had his running mate going. And you look at Ohio State, you look at Bruce Thornton, you look at Junie Mobley, you look at Devin Royal. That may be the best backcourt as far as production in this conference. All 3 of those guys got to it, and they get to it in different ways. Bruce Thornton, big bully guard, going to get to a spot, going to rise up over you, take the contact and finish. John Mobley Jr. had 26 last night, knocked down 5 threes. His ability to affect defenses from deep, it kills you. And then Devin Royal, big fella, he can knock it down from the outside, but his game is getting to the lane, playing on the offensive glass, getting to the free throw line. Those 3 in the must-win situation were huge. And then you look at Ohio State. Earlier this season, they weren't getting anything off their bench. Not points, not rebounds, not assists. Last night, Ugovin checks in the game, big fella, Tilly in some foul trouble. He gives him 9 rebounds off the bench. That was huge to bring in that type of physicality. And then Colin White, ended the game, hadn't played much. A big steal into an and-one, and that may be one Ohio State the game. So you know what you get from those 3 guards at the top. Christoph Tilly is a load inside. Bynum still growing into his position as a freshman. But if they can continue to get to some play-hard plays, some effort plays, some physicality off the bench from those guys, Ohio State can make a run through this Big Ten and get themselves back into the tournament and have Bruce dancing for the first time in his career.
I did want to ask you quickly about the Gophers, because in Nico Medved's first season, you're kind of building a program in your image. And with all these close games, do you see a sign that maybe they start to break through as we get deeper into conference
Oh,
play?
for sure. I love Nico Medved. Nico Medved is one of the better coaches in the country. He flat out gets it. The way he can cut you up on the offensive end, and then the way he can adapt and change defensively is big time. But when you look at these close games are for players. Players got to win you close games. You look at Ohio State, it was Bruce Thornton, Junie Mobley taking over the game in overtime. You look at Minnesota, in these close games, Cade Tyson has to be a factor. He fouled out last night, but only gave him 15 on the road. And you go on the road in this conference, you're undermanned, some guys out with injuries. Your best player has got to play like your best player. Crocker Johnson was great, but you need Cade Tyson to go out there and get you 20 to 30 on road nights, especially in those close games. When it's close games, X and O's go out the way. It's all about those Jimmys and those Joes. And you look at Minnesota right now, Cade being the forward, they don't necessarily have a guard. They can put the ball in their hands and say, go get me a basket.
Well, with the Iowa Hawkeyes, another team that hosted a game in Big Ten play last night, we're seeing the fans start to show back up at Carver Hawkeye Arena for men's basketball in Ben McCollum's first season, and a very new roster, at least new to Hawkeye fans. A lot of folks that Coach McCollum's squad already knew. And for what they did last night in outlasting Rutgers. Rutgers isn't a team that's been towards the top of the Big Ten standings this season, but it still felt like a big effort for Iowa to finish in the way that they did.
Oh, yeah. For Iowa, it's all about keep the game close. And like we talked about Minnesota not having a guard to get the ball to, Iowa, if the game is close and it's winning time, give the basketball to Bennett Sturts and get out of the way. Because Bennett took the game over. Final 5 minutes of the ball game. It's a tight game. Rutgers is going back and forth with Iowa. It's winning time. Bennett has that mindset. He had 9 points in those final 5 minutes, and that's the difference. They ran the same play over and over and over. I mean, it's Bennett Sturts, top of the key. Cam Malwow, come set a ball screen. Bennett, go get you a basket. If they cut you off, you got the nice little drop pass to Manwow. They ran that play 4 times in a row. It was a Bennett bucket. It was a Manwow foul, Bennett bucket. And that's how you win the basketball game for your Iowa. You need really good guards to win in college basketball. You need really good guards to get deep into March. Iowa has them one, but now they're getting production from Tate Sage off the bench. He gave them 17. That was phenomenal because, again, Bennett struggled throughout the game. He got going to end it, but they needed Sage's production. Then they get production from Banks. He gives them 12. So if you continue to get production from other guys on that Iowa Hawkeye roster to go along with the stout defense that Coach Ben McCollum puts on the floor every single night, and then you have a closer in Bennett Sturts, that's a recipe for success. I think this Iowa squad is fighting right now maybe to get in that top 5 mix, but they're definitely making a push to the NCAA tournament. And once they get there, we know Coach can win some games.
There's no doubt about that, man. Those are the types of teams, Ohio State and Iowa, just showcasing how deep this conference is this season. They can get God on certain nights, but they can get anyone in the Big Ten, it feels like, as well.